So Square Enix is kind of going under fire the last few days. It's largely due to their Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate port to PC. Now, there's a lot of different things being said about this port. People are saying this is the worst Square Enix port in recent memory, in the last 5 years, in the last decade. All kinds of crazy stuff are being said. While some people are saying this, some people are saying that, I want to get into the nitty-gritty of what exactly you can expect from the PC version of this game and what exactly is just being said online, which ain't exactly true. And then afterwards, I want to go into my own personal experience with the game, playing it on PC, and see, compare it to what a lot of other people are going through as well. But that's after what you can actually expect from the game. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. So let's get started. So, of course, the biggest controversy regarding this was the $70 price tag for the game. $70 is not cheap, and usually we're used to paying $70 to $80 for, deluxe editions of games, where you can expect to get, the digital soundtrack or a CD, a mini CD with the soundtrack, or some kind of steelbook, that kind of thing. But with the PlayStation 5 and other next-gen consoles coming out, they've seemingly starting to try to raise those prices up by $10, and not everybody's happy about that. So that was the first strike against 7 Remake on PC, despite, it already being that price on PlayStation if you want to get it on there. However, there's a big thing that made things much worse for the PC version, and that is the optimization issues. To this day, no one is fully sure significantly what is happening with this PC version. Even having played it myself, a ton of people don't really know what's going on here. So it doesn't really matter how good your PC is. Most people who PC game generally have a decent enough PC to play most games. That's just what to expect in the PC gamer scene. But the fact that you can have, there are reports of 3090s with the best of the line CPUs as well, stuttering every couple of seconds and stuff in this game, that's kind of ridiculous. That's pretty ridiculous. Now, I don't have a 3090, but I do have a 3070. And I can go ahead and say that we're going to get into shortly, it's not too far off. Now, I do want to say though, I do think people are over exaggerating. I'm not trying to say that it's not bad, because it is. But to say this is the worst Square Enix port in years or even recent memory is very short-sighted, purely because Nier Replicant also came out this year, which if any of you tried to play that game on release day for PC, you all probably couldn't play it on PC. Luckily, if you had a 60 hertz monitor, which is fairly the standard for most monitors, anybody who plays on the computer and stuff like that, that's fairly standard. But if you didn't have one of those and you had something higher like me with a 144 hertz monitor, you could not play the game. So what was worst about Nier Replicant is because the physics of the game were tied to the frame rate. So if you were going higher than 60, everything was going in super speed. I'm not joking. It was literally unplayable. You could not play the game like that. Everything was just super speed. And I'm not talking super smooth frame rate. I'm talking Sonic the freaking Hedgehog. It was not right. It literally was not right. It was literally unplayable. Thankfully since then it's been fixed so people can play the game on PC now. But the fact that something like that can happen and take days, if not weeks, to actually get fixed is ridiculous. And another Square Enix port that also came out this year were the PC ports of the Kingdom Hearts games. And while I think some of them played pretty well, especially most notably Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 2 fans, or the 3 fans of Dream Drop Distance, including myself, did not have such an enjoyable experience. Crashes were very abundant, and bless the people who were trying to speedrun Kingdom Hearts 2 with as big of a scene that is, they could not do it. They could not do it. You could not go through a run of that game through its entirety without crashing. And it was constant. It was started to trend on Twitter to get Square Enix to fix these games, because people have wanted Kingdom Hearts to be on PC for a very long time, as those games are perfect material for modding, and now we've seen the scene thrive. But honestly, they kind of went a really long time without fixing these issues, quite a while. Now, thankfully, most of them have been fixed, but of course, there are still frequent crashes, still reported for Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, going back to Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, another really bad thing too is the lack of customization options. A lot of different kind of inconsistencies in frame rates and things like that, and stuttering issues in any game can usually be fixed by tweaking some settings. Obviously, not every game is going to be optimized, but at the end of the day, if the game itself isn't optimized, there are usually ways for players to be able to optimize it themselves to make things run a little bit better, even if it means sacrificing here and there. But Final Fantasy VII Remake hardly has anything. Of course, the game is also locked to a 120 FPS as a maximum. You can only really have the choice between 30, 60, 90, and 120. A lot of people have tried to come up with different ways to fix the game, like downloading Riva Tuner, or going into GeForce Experience or NVIDIA Control Panel and locking the frame rate to 60 and things like that. If you change your monitor's refresh rate to be something else and then playing the game at that refresh rate, it should help it. But things like that, it's just, you shouldn't have to go and do that. There are also other things people are doing, like the most commonly being mods that I'm currently looking at having over 24,000 downloads for this one mod alone, that being the dynamic resolution disabler. Now, dynamic resolution is something that can help for some people, but the fact that people have to go out of their way to download a mod to get the experience they should have gotten when they dished out $70 for a game that's been out for a couple years, that's kind of ridiculous. I'm not necessarily saying this isn't something that happens with other game companies, and I'm not saying this is an exclusive Square Enix thing, but it's still ridiculous. It's not something that people should be having to do. That is the bulk of the issues you can expect to find within Final Fantasy VII Remake if you were to play the game today on PC at the time of this recording, being December 21st. However, I will say, based off my own experience, it is widely inconsistent. I have been playing the game at 120 FPS, and though it has been consistent at that frame rate, generally within combat, a few minutes after getting into the game, I mainly noticed that the game is a little, choppy when you first boot it up, probably mainly just because assets are still loading in, which, I already expect to happen during the loading screen, but whatever, I did notice that it was fairly consistent. However, if you were in the Midgar slums, one of the first areas of the game, it is going to lag like crazy. There are many times where I was visibly under 40 FPS, which is barely better than what the PS4 was at. And I know that may sound, oh, well, it's better than how the PS4 ran. No, but the thing is, the PS4 even then was constantly at 30. So the fact that it was at a stable frame rate is what was really good about that. At the end of the day, we all want higher frame rates, but when a frame rate is higher but inconsistent, that's what makes things really unplayable and irritating to the eyes. When I have my frame rate in some areas of the slums going to 120 and then dropping to 20 to 40, that is not a consistent playthrough. It looks like it's lagging or chopping up all the time. It's not good. And again, I did notice that, throughout it, it's mainly just this area. As the first 6 hours of the game, this is where you're going to mainly be at. I don't want to get into spoilers for those who have not played the game or anything like that, but the area when you're going to help someone out for a secret mission early in the game, that area ran very consistent for me. So I'm really glad I was able to get that. So I'd say my experience has been fairly positive, but whenever it wasn't, I was very, very upset, as again, I have a 3070 and I have a very compatible, CPU, and generally this shouldn't be happening in most of my PC gaming experience. But the fact that it's happening here with a game that I know I should be able to run is ridiculous, and it's honestly unacceptable. Now, I have to say that I did actually receive this game from Epic Games and Square Enix, so much love to them for providing me a code so I can try this game out and talk about it for you guys. However, I've even got to say again, I wasn't paid to say none of this. This is ridiculous. Like, I'm not trying to say it's any individual person on the team's fault, but this is ridiculous. This needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed as soon as possible. I'm not saying rush out a patch and then not fix what we need or make things worse. I'm just saying you can clearly tell that this was something Square Enix wanted to get out in time for Christmas, and that is exactly what they did. Now, it seems like that was their priority over making it a positive experience, and it just tells through their actions. And I'm really sorry this had to be the case, especially all of you who are playing Final Fantasy VII Remake for the very first time. I'm really sorry that you had to have an experience such as this, and let's hope Square Enix will go ahead and fix this game. If you guys have any kind of social media whatsoever, you should really tweet out to Square Enix, tag their team, hashtag fix FF7R. Something like that will really get the attention, and it worked for Kingdom Hearts, and it should definitely work for this, because again, Final Fantasy is one of their most premier series from this company, and I think it really deserves better than what they've been displaying as of late. So let me know what you guys think. Have you all had a decent experience with this game? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you still plan on getting it, or would you rather wait for a price cut and patches for the game to be sent out? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm still working on the next challenge video, so if you guys want more challenge videos and more discussion videos about Final Fantasy and other JRPGs, or anything else that you guys find interesting like Nintendo like I do, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is KingdomAce, and remember everyone to play some games, have some fun, and enjoy your day today.